My people, the time for change is now. We will not be silenced. Our voices will be heard.
No one expected a soldier to release 2 million doves into one of the harshest deserts on earth. But when Captain Ibrahim Traoré stood before a restless crowd in Wagadugu and announced Operation Freedom Flight, the world froze. No missiles, no machines, just wings. The Sahel, that endless belt of dust and heat stretching across Africa, had long been known for famine, war, and drought. But Traoré saw it differently. He looked at the sand and saw soil waiting to breathe again. The desert took our rivers, our peace, and our hope, he said. So we will send peace to reclaim them. And with that, military trucks, once built for war, rolled out carrying cages of white doves instead of weapons. The world laughed. Birds won't fix hunger, said a Western analyst. But as the first flocks rose over the red horizon, something began to shift. Scientists said the birds could scatter seeds and restore soil. Villagers said the land would remember. Within weeks, soldiers and students worked side by side, feeding, tagging, and releasing thousands of doves every sunrise. People called them the Green Brigade. On social media, videos of endless white clouds of wings trended under hashtag Doves of Freedom. Still, critics mocked it as symbolism over science, until the first revelation came. Hidden inside some of the birds were tiny sensors, not for spying, but for measuring air and soil patterns. The West called it eco-espionage, but Traoré's people called it sovereignty. When the West launches satellites, they call it science, said a teacher in Kaya. When Africa tags a bird, they call it a threat. Then something even stranger happened. The birds began mapping the desert themselves. Satellite images showed faint streaks of green following their flight paths, like veins of life cutting through the dust. For the first time in decades, grass began to grow where nothing had survived. Villagers followed the flocks, digging where the birds landed, and water appeared. Old wells filled again. They found what our machines could not, said a scientist in Wagadugu. But not everyone believed it. Western media spun new headlines. The Sky Network. Are Burkina Faso's birds gathering more than seeds? Rumors of data leaks and drones filled the air, but Traoré remained calm. If the world fears our birds, he said, maybe it finally fears our freedom. Then came the night that changed everything. Thousands of tagged doves were spotted forming perfect spirals over the desert, moving not randomly, but as if guided by something ancient. Their flight traced the ghost lines of long-buried rivers, patterns no satellite had ever seen. Some said it was divine, others called it dangerous. A French journalist captured the moment, tens of thousands of white birds swirling beneath the sunset like a living storm, and the clip went viral. The world demanded answers. Were the doves drones? Were they mapping something hidden? When Traoré finally appeared on state television, his voice was steady. They say Africa cannot dream without permission. If our birds can find forgotten rivers, maybe they're not machines. Maybe they're miracles. Days later, scientists confirmed it. The sensors had detected underground water veins across the Sahel, a discovery that satellite technology had failed to make for decades. The doves were not spies. They were explorers. For the first time, the desert was revealing its secrets to those who lived upon it. Wells appeared where birds had gathered, grass returned, and villages long abandoned began to hum with life again. Women collected moringa from new patches of green, farmers planted near the new wells, and children played beside puddles that survived the dry season. Across Africa, people began calling it the Wing Revolution. What began as a dream became a movement. France and the US, once skeptical, now sent scientists to learn. But Traoré refused to sell the data. The sky belongs to everyone, he said, but the soil beneath it belongs to us. And so, what started as a simple gesture of peace became something far greater, a story of sovereignty told in feathers and flight. 5 years later, the Sahel was no longer just a strip of sand. It shimmered with green veins, new wells, and a quiet pride that spread across borders. The doves had survived, multiplied, and changed the rhythm of the desert. Villagers planned their planting seasons by their flight patterns. Artisans carved dove pendants called Sahel peace charms. Tourists arrived to follow the migration trails. The world finally understood what Traore meant when he said, "You cannot kill a desert that remembers to fly." In the end, the Sahel didn't just bloom, it rose. From dust to life, from doubt to dignity, from silence to song. And as the last flock crossed the golden horizon, shimmering against the evening sun, a simple truth echoed through the land. Sometimes the smallest wings carry the biggest revolutions.